Good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk, a program where we'll highlight issues concerning Nigeria. And tonight we'll stay on opposition critic or criticism, as you would like to call it, of the ruling APC policies that they brought into Nigeria since 2015, right? So the APC won on popular vote in 2015, and yeah, they were a party of choice, and they gave the ruling PDP at the time a run for their money like we've never seen before in Nigeria's politics. And what has it been so far? Opposition voices keep saying that the APC have not done better than even the PDP of the past, right? Welcome to the program. My name is Obong Osoro. I'm your host for the show tonight, but let's go for a short break. And when we come back, I introduce my guests so we could have this very important conversation about how APC have been handling Nigeria. Stay with us. Our economy. Politics shapes our security. Politics defines our future. But who is asking the hard question? Is intimidating governors to our opposition, and some allegations even say monies are offered to the tune of billions of naira to these governors to come to the APC. On Big Talk, we take politics beyond party lines and press statements. We interrogate policies, challenge power,
and it shall be addressed,
and demand accountability from those who govern, from the presidency to the National Assembly, from state governments to grassroots politics. We break down the decisions that affect your daily life. No propaganda, no political comfort zone, just facts, context, and fearless conversations. Big Talk is where leaders explain, analysts dissect, and the people understand.
2015 elections were not held. They are doing rigging.
Don't just watch politics, question it. Tune in to Big Talk on Global Television every weekday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation. So, welcome back to the program. Tonight we'll look at some of the criticism opposition politicians have against the ruling APC. We have joining us live in the studio Prince Idris Waziri. He is a former presidential candidate, and he ran an election once in Nigeria, and he's back to the country to see some of the things he still has against the ruling party. In 2019, you advocated and you were a part of those who wanted a change in governance, and maybe Nigerians didn't choose you at the time, but here you are again, still wanting to serve Nigeria, still talking about Nigeria. Why Nigeria? Let's start from there. Welcome to the program.
Right, thank you. So let me just correct a couple of things. I didn't run for president. I wanted to run for president in 2015. So that was against 2019, but by 2019 I was advised by my mentor, run for governor instead, leave the presidency till the later time. So I never ran for president, I ran for governor in 2019. But in terms of why Nigeria, why do I want to do this? The question is why not actually, you know what I mean? We have a country that is failing, has failed by many people's standards, and even as of now, there is still no clear direction as to where we're going. What is the future? The horizon still does not look very promising to us as Nigerians. So again, what is the point of these, the APC, the PDP, the ADCs, the whatever three-letter acronym we get next? There doesn't seem to be that direction, that focus, that general sincerity of purpose to drive all of us, not just a select few, all of us in the right direction.
Right, so as at 2015, you were very prominent about your choice of wanting to assist Nigeria in many ways, right? From 2015 to 2025, it's 10 years apart, and this is 2026, so more than 10 years after. What has changed?
Nothing. I still have the desire, I still have the ambition, I still have the the inner need to lift my people out of the abject poverty that they're in, and then show them what is possible under the so-called dividends of democracy. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say words, it's another thing to actually achieve or do the actions that will now give that relief to people. You know, and the people that you're supposedly leading. So the work is a lot. We haven't even begun the work. Right now, all we're doing is just allowing a few individuals with political ambition to continue playing around like musical chairs. You understand? When the music stops, whoever is sitting on the chair, that's who rules us for 4 to 8 years. And then we now press reset and start all over again with the next person. You understand? There is never continuity. There is never a 100-year plan. We just have no direction.
Right, so I'm asking, for Nigeria, what has changed in the country?
Not much. In terms of actual development, not much. We, like I said, we still have small facets of what looks to be like development, but then once the photo opportunities are all gone and the money has been shared, it dies. Hence, we have so many white elephant projects. The elephant project, they call it white elephant projects, that we call it, right? That's the story of Nigeria. So nothing has changed from independence till now. Nothing.
But look at Abuja, for instance. Good roads and infrastructure developing and new areas opening up. For you, that's not change. That's not improvement.
Improvement comes with the standard of people of living of the people. It's not a road infrastructure. Those things, that's why when people start clapping, Wike has built road. What was he supposed to do in the first place? Do you understand? What in God's name are you clapping for? That you're clapping for him is why he thinks that he has done something. Do you understand? No. Where are the initiatives? Why aren't other things coming up that really show this country is developing? It's not by building flyover. You understand? Where are the schools? Where are the hospitals? Do you understand? Where are the reliefs that make government seem like you guys are doing?
So in your opinion, infrastructure is not development?
Infrastructure is development, but what type of infrastructure? We're talking about roads. We should be talking about railways. Do you understand? The British came in here, they built railways to do what? Take our resources and extract them out of the country, right? Those railways, they were built before they gave us independence. We have not yet improved on those railways till today. There is no country that industrializes, that moves forward with earnest, that does not put railways down on ground first. And you are talking to me about road? Which road? The ones that we have with potholes? Or how do we move things? We have iron ore, for example, in Yobe. How do you want to get that iron ore down to where Ajaokuta Steel Company is? You understand? You have two options. You either transport it or you build another refinery where the resource is, right? How do you want to put, like I said, iron ore? Do you know how heavy iron ore is? You want to be... No. So that is a resource that is useless to you right now because you can't transport it. Is that a country that has sense? No. That's a country that has tunnel vision for one easy source of money. Oil and gas, oil and gas, oil and gas, and that's it. No other. When Buhari came in 2015, I actually thought there was going to be some kind of movement in development. He came in and the first thing he said was, we're going to diversify the economy into agriculture and mining. Being someone who has been in mining for now, 14 years now? Yeah, I was over the moon with joy. I thought finally we're going to get somewhere. Nothing happened. All we got out of the ministry under Buhari was, what's his name, Fayemi? I think Fayemi was minister as well. Fayemi did a website for like 800 million naira. 800 million naira for website. Or is it a portal or whatever that today I don't even know whether it works or not. But it served no purpose. It did nothing for the industry. All that happened was they bought vehicles, they did that nonsense web portal, he went around for governor. That's why I said nothing really changes. You understand? We just keep doing the same things over and over again and we expect change. What do they say about that? That's what insane people do. You understand? So we have an entire country of mad people that should all be locked up in institutions.
No, those are very strong words. A national team.
But it's the truth. What did we just say now? You keep repeating the same thing, expecting a change. What do we say about that? That's insanity, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, waiting for change. We go to church, we go to mosque. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Ya Allah is in voting those people out. That is your answer. God said, help yourself before I stand up. Do something for yourself before I help you.
Right, so, you've started, but in 2022, we saw a movement of young Nigerians who wanted a change, like you've mentioned, that, there were aspects that we've not really had change. And they coordinated. We saw them coming out and putting out this movement and saying we want to support. And we saw it cumulating in the support of Peter Obi. A lot of young Nigerians supported Peter Obi, and first-timers got voter cards and voted in that particular 2023 elections from data. Is it showing that young Nigerians are now very interested in Nigerian politics? Because we are looking at data, the 2011 elections, 2015 elections, we had less than 30% of those between the ages of 18 and 40 participating in Nigeria's election, and that was very, very poor. Are you seeing young Nigerians wanting to participate more in elections?
I had an interesting conversation with the person that I'm hoping will be my chief of staff. And he's like, Edie, I was at a party and he was having a conversation with one of these Gen Zs, I think, right? And her interest in politics, sparked his own enthusiasm. So they even left the main party and they went aside and were having a conversation. He's like, after the whole conversation, he found out she didn't even have a PVC card. I burst out laughing, you know what I mean? So there is interest, right? It's growing small in the youth, in the Gen Zs and the millennials, right? Some of us Gen Xs have our PVC cards. We understand what the power of the vote is, right? But again, a lot of us also have found our comfort zone, so we're not really ready to rock the boat that much, you know what I mean? So in terms of the youth actually forming that kind of necessary coalition that would be able to create enough of a ripple that would affect the current standard that has become rooted by the organs at the top. You understand? They've established a system. They use money politics to exclude us from running for office, because now they say, if I want to run for governor now, in PDP and APC, they've already used nomination form fees to wipe us out. Only those in government that have access to hundreds and billions can now come and be paying 100 million naira just for nomination form. Do you understand? So there are lesser parties that don't require that of you, but do they stand a chance against the juggernauts? That's why I have now attacked the deregistration of the parties. Let me first try and eliminate these two behemoths of parties. Let us bring it down to the others, right? So you mentioned Peter Obi. I applaud what happened there are certain things that happened in the last 3 election cycles that I think are critical. The 2015, right, it showed that an incumbent can lose. So it showed that the power of the vote, when there is an overwhelming majority support around somebody, no matter, you can't rig. So rigging has its limitations. That's what 2015 showed us, right? 2019, I can't remember what was the lesson I learned from 2019, but 2023, that's where Peter Obi comes in. 2023 shows that a movement is actually possible in this country if you can find a person that can unite all the opposition. So Peter Obi's downfall, to a certain extent, was that his movement soon became a sectionalized movement for the Southeasterners. You understand? That's where the movement lost its steam, so to speak. You know what I mean? They did very well. For Peter Obi to come from nowhere, remember the parties were doing Yangana, you don't have structure, you don't have structure. Structure at the end of the day, Peter Obi showed was people voting. That's structure. And he showed that I can overnight go par to par with PDP, because he just narrowly lost to PDP, right? And then you now have the most unpopular president ever, Tinubu, winning with whatever it was that he won. So the two oppositions splitting is why Tinubu is in power today. So again, that cohesion. So if the youth want to take power for themselves, because it's about democracy, it's about numbers, Abi. So that demographic, 18 to 55, right? If that group can find unity, take the NSAS. NSAS was kind of like Peter Obi's movement, right? It was something that was spontaneous and it caught fire. Why did it die? 2 reasons. There was no identified leadership for NSAS. Then number 2, there was no cohesion between the southern and the northern protesters. The southerners were protesting against SARS and the brutality of SARS. The northern youths were protesting against banditry, their inability to farm and do anything. So you see, there wasn't a unified front. But I can tell you, government was very afraid at that point, because for once it looked like an Arab Spring was about to form in Nigeria, and there was. And once that happens, there's really no stopping it. You know what I mean? So government should really take cues. There are always cues, red flags, right? Red flags have been flying for a while now. It's time for these people to take notice.
Right, absolutely. But let's look at the APC government now. In 2015, they campaigned on a tripartite promises of ending insecurity, talking about economy and also corruption. But let's start from corruption, because a lot of persons say most of Nigeria's problem is from corruption. I will look at data. The US, one of the think tank in the US says about $1 trillion has been stolen from Nigeria from I think 1999 or thereabout. Right. So a lot of money has gone into. But you saw the APC campaigning and saying we will stop corruption. Do you think that the APC has limited corruption in Nigeria since they came into power?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, it looks as though the corruption under even Buhari was unprecedented. You know what I mean? I was a Buhari supporter from 2003, 2007, 11. The only time I didn't vote for Buhari was in 2015, when I had now made a decision to be presidential candidate myself. So I didn't actually vote in 2015 at all, because I considered myself your equal, your opposition in 2019. You understand? But Buhari, the only thing Buhari delivered on, when Buhari, before the elections, Buhari was campaigning for security, challenging the security issues, primarily in the Northeast. So when Buhari became president, 2 regions of Nigeria were on fire: the Northeast with Boko Haram, and the South with militants, which technically had been doused by the amnesty that President Yar'Adua gave them. So, but there were still murmurings, and with Jonathan having been in power, the militants, the South region were kind of appeased. So in a way, like I said, it was kind of 1.5 regions that were on fire. But when Buhari came in, those of us that come from the Northeast can tell you APC did a very good job of reducing the insecurity. Before the election, Buhari used to say during his campaign now, Boko Haram had flags on, I think, 17 local governments in Borno State or something like that. I can't remember the number of local governments, but they were flying their flags. All that ended when Buhari became president. So let us not always criticize. Let us give credit where credit is due. So what then happened?
But it didn't end.
No. It became worse, because while he tackled the Boko Haram and the militants were kind of already doused anyway, what happened? Farmer herdsmen clashes came up in the middle belt. Banditry came up in the northwest. So all of a sudden now, he was now facing 4 regions that were on fire. When he came, there were only 2. People always forget that.
And the IPOB,
that's why I said now, all of a sudden there was 4. You have IPOB, you have banditry, you have the Boko Haram, which was never really dealt with, but they were suppressed.
No. We could say unknown gunmen in the southeast.
Oh, thank you. In the southwest,
right?
Yeah, unknown gunmen in the southeast, and then so either which way is, like I said, he now had multiple fronts to deal with, and it's a bit much anywhere. You know what I mean? The government was trained, and it was so that was the problem in terms of delivery on insecurity. Corruption, like I said, I don't think there's the levels of corruption under President Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan. I don't think we'll ever see levels of corruption, because that was when oil prices were high. We had money. We were making money. Like Okonjo-Iweala and the former CBN governor Sanusi Lamido said, that was the time when we should have been saving for a rainy day. Rainy day being when the prices will crash and the world will enter a recession as we have done now in 2024. So when the former CBN governor Sanusi said Yawa is about to happen, the Yawa we're in now was the Yawa that Sanusi highlighted to us in 2014 when Goodluck now fired him. But here we are now. The man did not lie. The reality is, look at where we are now. I keep telling you, I don't envy anybody that will be president of this country right up to maybe say 2035, because it will take us that long to come out of the mess that we're in. You know, when you have a wound and you don't take care of it, it becomes septic, it becomes infected, right? But if you deal with it early, it doesn't become that problem, right? So now we're talking about, do we need to amputate the leg or is there a way we can actually save the leg? That is the discussion we're having, that we're supposed to be having, but we're not even having that discussion, because up to now, the corruption machine is still in full swing. It's now about how can we secure us returning in 2027, not how do we fix the country.
Right. Talking about taking tough decisions to serve, like you use an analogy of the leg that has been infected. We've seen our current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The president has been very clear about the fact that we have to take tough decisions, and one of it has been the removal of fuel subsidy. Let's save money. Let's have more money saved instead of where states were getting loans to pay salaries and all of that. And kudos to him, you may want to say, because we've not really seen states go into that borrowing spree where we used to have some 2-3 years ago.
Yes and no. You see, they say they stopped subsidy because there was corruption in the whole subsidy thing, right? Monies were going elsewhere rather than the actual subsidy work. Okay, I get all of that argument, right? But my point is this: the Constitution, right, does not allow for one privatization in itself to the point where you're even removing subsidy. Do you understand? So no, we are supposed to be operating a system where subsidy should be there as part of, it's there to make your life easier. Do you understand? We shouldn't even stop at petrol subsidy. We should be adding agri subsidy. We should be adding electrical subsidy. We should be adding as many subsidies as government can shoulder. Do you understand? Because the money is there. We're just spending it on the wrong things. We're spending it on National Assembly, on keeping people, their pockets lined with money. We're spending money on corruption. We're not spending on money where it should be spent on. If we spend the money on where it should be spent on, then half our problems will not be there. So to answer your question about subsidy, the fact that the very first thing the president said was subsidy is gone is an illegality in itself. It's an unconstitutional abnormality in itself. And it only came about from PDP's gross violation of our constitution back when they did privatization in the first place. PDP and APC just came to aid and abet that violation of me and you. And like I said, and it culminated in that most egregious statement that the president made in his inauguration, that our subsidy is gone.
So what form of government are you advocating? Because from what you're saying, it looks as if you're advocating for a socialist or welfarist kind of government.
That's what our constitution demands. That is what we are supposed to be. It's not me advocating it. I am saying let us follow the constitution, and the constitution says we are a socialist state. So don't let Oyinbo's definition of socialism confuse you. Socialism is not a bad thing. Socialism is a very good thing if it is done right. Socialism means you, right now, should not worry about your children's education, should not worry about your children's health care, should not worry about where your children or your family is going to sleep, because government has already taken care of that for you. Do you understand? Just because you have that green passport. Today we look at that green passport as something you want to get rid of. I want the red one from Britain. I want the blue one from Yankee. No, that green one, if we follow the constitution, should be the best thing for you. You understand? But we don't follow it. That's the problem.
So we're not running. What you're telling us, you are a lawyer, and maybe you could explain better, because I remember those days in our government class, it was clear that Nigeria is a democracy, we are a republic, and we practice participatory and representative
what makes you think
democracy. I'm coming, and all of this, and the economic policy we run is a capitalist economy and not a socialist one.
Again, the way you're saying what you just said right now makes it seem as though you can't have a democratic society running a socialist economy, right? What is the UK? What is the NHS in UK? National Health Service or whatever. That's a socialist healthcare policy. What is Canada? Canada is a democratic system, but runs a socialist healthcare and educational policy.
Can we differentiate between interventionist policies and socialism?
Again, I think there's the same thing. We're saying the same thing. An interventionary policy is to what? Intervene to make your life better, Abi. What are socialist policies in this? In the very definition of them, they are policies that are equitable for everybody. Let everybody share from this cake. Let it not be just me and you that are sharing. The guys outside, nothing for them. Do you understand? That is capitalism. That capitalism said, I will be Dangote, you will remain in abject poverty, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Fine. Socialism says no, let there be some kind of parity. There is no problem with Dangote emerging from this system, but at least let everybody be okay. Let nobody be sleeping without food. Let nobody be sleeping on the streets. What's wrong with that? Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with that. The only problem with that is some people have told you that there's something wrong with that in favor of their own capitalist thing. So you now are sitting here trying to promote capitalism because that is what since childhood.
I'm not promoting capitalism, right?
The world over,
I'm asking the questions,
we grew up in the era of a Cold War. What was that Cold War about? It wasn't so much the nuclear weapons. Right. It was about ideology. America pushing capitalism, Russia pushing communism. Right? Socialism is kind of like in between the two. Do you understand? Like I said, this is not me speaking. The Constitution is there. It is in black and white. It is for everybody. It is simple English. It's not even complicated.
We'll have to have this debate one of these days. Also, bring somebody from the other side. Let's talk about it because we'll hear a lot from the government that what we practice is capitalism and all of the other things that I've said.
Unconstitutionally, you are running an illegal policy, an illegal government, and you are trying to defend it.
So the APC is an illegal government?
100%. 100%. They shouldn't even exist as a party because INEC has been deregistering parties for not winning seats, Abi. Oh yeah, APC, PDP, they won seats. They went and they violated section 16(1)(c) and section 16(2)(c). Why are they not deregistered? Why are you still trying to deregister parties like PRP, the oldest party in Nigeria, the only party with an ideology in Nigeria? You're trying to deregister that party and you've left these ones? That's double standard now. That already tells me you're compromised, INEC. That tells me that you're compromised already before we even start the match. Why should I even play the match? Would you? Would you go and play a football match when already referee don't show you, say, boy, see people that should not play, they have already there. In fact, he has even allowed one pass, the Messi, to enter the game and be scoring goal. Would you go and play in that game? Then why should we accept it like that? Just because he's the president? No.
So you are faulting electoral umpire. You are faulting frontline political parties.
Because our system is a complete mess.
Meaning you are faulting the entire system.
But that is it. It is a system that is broken. And until we fix the system, we're washing.
But you are also contesting and participating in a system that you say is faulty.
How else can I fix it? It is by participating that I can now highlight the faults and say, hey, you people, turn your eye here. And in fact, let me even awaken your eye, because it seems your eyes are closed. Some people have put sellotape. Let me remove that sellotape and let me physically open your eyelids and point you and say, you know, did you watch that film, Clash of the Titans, back in the day? You remember that Medusa, where she looked you up? We need to open everybody's eyes. You understand? Those that should turn to stone, let them turn to stone because they don't want you to hear the truth.
Nobody's going to turn to a snake, right? Absolutely. All right, so let's go for a short break. We still have Prince Waziri with us in the studio as we look at national politics and opposition voices as they raise concerns to APC, governing of Nigeria. Barrister Waziri says the APC, as it stands now, is an illegal party.
APC and PDP are illegal parties. They should not exist. If INEC is doing their job, if INEC is being fair, right? If you're applying your rules, your powers to deregister, then apply them fairly.
Right, so let's go for this break. And when we'll come back, we'll still have Barrister Waziri as we keep talking about this. Stay with us.
guides our economy. Politics shapes our security. Politics defines our future. But who is asking the hard question?
Is intimidating governors to our opposition, and some allegations even say monies are offered to the tune of billions of naira to these governors to come to the APC.
On Big Talk, we take politics beyond party lines and press statements. We interrogate policies, challenge power,
and it shall be addressed,
and demand accountability from those who govern. From the presidency to the National Assembly, from state governments to grassroots politics, we break down the decisions that affect your daily life. No propaganda, no political comfort zone, just facts, context, and fearless conversations. Big Talk is where leaders explain, analysts dissect, and the people understand.
2015 elections were not held. They are doing rigging.
Don't just watch politics, question it. Tune in to Big Talk on Global Television every weekday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Join the conversation.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Big Talk, a program where we highlight political issues concerning Nigeria. My name is Ubong, your host on the show tonight, as we talk to Prince Waziri, who is a Nigerian politician, and he has been interested in running for Nigeria's president for some time now, and he ran for Yobe State governorship in 2019, right? Absolutely. So he's joined us in the studio as we look at some of the concerns he's raising from about the APC government, right? Yes, let's still talk about the APC. We saw the campaign the APC did prior to 2015, and they condemned the PDP. And some persons still today say the APC still point accusing finger and say the PDP led us to where we are. Is it right for them to still be pointing to some of the things heels in with their words of what they say the PDP administration did?
It's one thing to point fingers and say PDP did this, right? It's another thing to show us what direction are you headed. Right. You understand? So it's not enough to come here and say, see the problem, see the problem, see the problem. What is your solution? I thought that's why we voted you and you came with solution. 8 years have passed under Buhari. That solution has not been seen. In fact, we have just gone worse. Like I said, for me, I'm not putting where we are at the footsteps of APC. That lies squarely with PDP. You understand? What has APC done to try and emerge?
But it's 10 years later.
Yeah, so 10 years later now, what have you done? And there's no
and PDP had just 16 years in power. 16
plus your 10 of this thing now, right? So we're talking about a total of 26 years altogether right now of no progress, of no movement, of where we were in 1999. I think it really, Obasanjo was probably the most movement. Like if there was a needle that showed the movement of an administration, I think Obasanjo's administration would be the highest movement, right? Yar'Adua, for the amnesty that he gave to the thing and the short time. Remember, Yar'Adua came, and you know how we said Tinubu came and said subsidy is gone. Yar'Adua during his inauguration said the process by which he was elected.
I apologize to Nigeria.
Do you understand? He might just take a moment to pause and think of the gravity of what that man said that day. He admitted that the election was faulty, in essence, right? That was as best an admission of, hey, this thing is nonsense as you could possibly get, right? But no problem. I personally give him credit for one, acknowledging that, right? And then now saying, let us see how we can fix the system. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to make any of that possible, right? But the fact remains, the admission, what's the best word for this thing? Can't think of it, but the admission of that, the nonsense that the system is, right? Coming from the #1 citizen at the time, it was huge. But again, since that time to now, have we actually done anything in terms of electoral reform? No, we have not.
So, but one of the things that have been mentioned as schemes of our democracy has been freedom of thoughts and freedom of expression.
Yes. You have the freedom of thought, you have the freedom of expression. What use is it to you? What good does it do you to have your freedom of expression and thought when the alternatives presented to you are almost identical? The people that man those three-letter alternatives, PDP, APC, ADC, they are all the same. They just keep jumping from one party. So everybody that is in ADC now was either in PDP at one point or APC at one point. You know what I mean? We're not talking about a fresh breed of politicians that have come out from a different angle and are saying a different thing. No, there's nothing like that. It's just the same group of characters, just playing musical chairs. Like I said, you're either dancing within APC or you're jumping from ADPPC to this one to that one. No. But in terms of why are you even here in the first place, nobody's talking about that.
But let me also mention one other thing that has been given as one of the pros of this democracy that we're running now: women participation in our politics. We have, it could be low, but at least we're seeing women participation in our politics. Under the military, it wasn't pronounced.
Again, it's like fire your house is burning on this end, and you're talking about, is furniture. Women participation in politics, I'm all for it. Yes, and I even wanted to join a woman-led party. That's how much I believe women focus, as in terms of policies, our policies should be women first, children second, and then Nigeria third. Do you understand? So in terms of women in politics, I'm all for that. But leave the positions now aside. The direction, where are we headed to? Who are the people that are going to drive us to that place? That is what we should be discussing. Not whether it should be women, whether it should be youth, whether it should be old people or not. What is the plan? That's why I keep trying to form unions or associations of people like me. You know what I mean? And it's very hard. I swear to God, I form groups and nothing happens. It's still just me individually doing this. It's like nobody else cares. It's like
about Nigeria.
About Nigeria. About changing anything. Everybody feels as though it is now for you. This is your idealistic dream that you're on, or this mission that you're on. You understand? It's as if nobody wants this thing. Nobody wants anything to change. Everybody wants it to stay exactly the same way. As in, even the people I'm fighting for, the downtrodden ones, they look me and say, okay, they know they fight government now. Do you understand? Wait, you are the ones I'm fighting for. During Occupy, the process of Occupy, I was on the streets in front of National Assembly. I remember one Okada guy driving past, shouting to us, saying, "We are not going to walk." And I thought that was just funny, because I'm here. I can afford the petrol that Jonathan wanted to increase it to. You can't. So I'm here to protest on your behalf. You are driving past asking, "I don't get walk." Yes, I get walk. I've chosen to sacrifice that walk to come and stand on the streets on your matter. So you see, the downtrodden don't even know this fight is possible. My peers, the middle class or whatever it is you want to call that, they feel, I found comfort zone. My children are in good school. I have good salary. I have this. I have my civil servant, in which case I cannot be seen with you because they will sack me or they will victimize me. Or, like I said, I found a niche for myself where I'm private sector and I'm doing my thing, which may be government related. So I'm getting government patronage because my father is so and so, my mother is so and so. Do you understand? Either which way, you're a problem to everybody. You understand? Shut up. But again, where are we headed to? We will still be here 50 years, 100 years from now, saying the same thing we're saying now, because nobody wanted to make that hard choice. These hard choices that you're saying,
right? Yeah, you're talking about hard choices. It takes me back to our current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's been so pronounced on it, saying, "I have come to make the hard decisions." Yes, subsidy. We've talked about subsidy already, and one of our things said, "Let's float our currency. Let's allow the real value of our currency. No more round tripping. No more. Let's see what we have. We are not padding the currency. We are not supporting it. If it is $1,000 to 1,000, let it be. Let us know our condition and not beautify the house where we do not have the ornaments to actually carry out that expenses." But I'd like to ask you about that. Are those not the hard decisions? Because you've talked about the fact that yes, the government is not making the right decision, but what decisions would you advise if you were in their position?
Again, like I said, we have to put some things in place.
Which
we talked about railway earlier on. Right?
Yeah.
We talked about railway. We talked about now. Next thing, energy. If you do not sort out your transportation system, if you do not sort out your energy, and energy does not necessarily have to be gas or coal. In the north, we have ample opportunity for wind and solar energy. Do you understand? So why don't we set up these things to be able to relieve the grid, the burden on the national grid? So yes, we have hydro plants. Like I said, we should have solar, we should have wind, we should have the gas, we should have any kind of coal. Let America and the world talk let's talk blue, talking about energy, clean energy and all that. Or where are they burn the coal? Because now the coal where we are born, now ain't rich where we are rich, where we are we are the developed country. No, you cannot develop using coal. Then me, I have coal. You tell me I should not touch it because we are trying to. We'll deal with the clean world once I have developed my country. Do you understand? So there are things that we need to put in place that will now set us on the path to true development. When people can move, if you can now stand up from Lagos and know that comfortably if you jump on a train, you could actually get to Maiduguri, do a business transaction, and come back to Lagos without that. And cheap, affordable, you're not stressing yourself, you're sitting in a train carriage, you're actually on your laptop doing work and everything. That's movement of goods and services. That is progress, that's development. You would bow how that wheel, when that engine starts to move, every other thing will start to play. It will fall into place. You know what I mean? Like I said, imagine an Igbo guy being able to just get up and just go and do some business in the north and just come back. And like vice versa. Do you understand? I'll get up, I'll go to Port Harcourt. Places that I've never even if you just go and see and come back. Do you know one of our biggest problems in this country? We don't know about ourselves. A guy from the southeast or the south has never left that region. He hasn't been to even Lagos. He's been here, but that guy would tell you, say, Aboki, and the same thing happens from the north down south. We don't know about each other. We are living in a country where we are so apart from each other that anybody can now come and just throw anything, and then we are fighting each other. Why do we allow that kind of scenario? That's why I keep saying that before I start talking about how we want to fix our economy and our politics. No. I want to fix our social first. That's why I said women are very important. Do you understand? Because the women are the fabric of a society, and our society is torn. They don't shred arm. Do you understand? We don't know who we are as a people. We can't even identify ourselves. What is in Nigeria today? We don't know.
Right, so you mentioned one thing, and which is you've mentioned transportation, that we need to fix it, and the government has been talking about what they're doing. In the last government, we saw Rotimi Amaechi as Minister of Transportation, and some persons say he was the best performing minister in that particular administration because of the railway tracks and railway things that they brought into the country, although there were also concerns about locomotive at this time when a lot of other countries are doing electric trains.
The first time I saw what they brought in, that was I think just at the tail end of Jonathan's administration. All those things that they were trying to do to shred. I saw that thing and I was like, that's 2014. That's what you're bringing for us, locomotive in 2014. Why are you not contracting these same Chinese that are here? Say, you see that high-speed bullet train that you do for our country, but how much is it? I want the entire country network. So first and foremost, give me a blueprint. You know how the London Underground is? When you enter the tube, the whole map of the Underground is there for you. Give me something like that for the entire country. So just like you have your major roads and you have some minor roads and so on, show me everything. So that the major lines that connect the entire country, then the angle ones, the smaller ones, and then the even smaller ones. You understand? Let the entire country be networked. How much is that? I can tell you now. I don't know what. No, we can afford it. That's all I can tell you. We can afford it if we are serious, right? So put that in place. And these Chinese, give them that contract. 1 year, they will finish it for you.
The whole country.
Again, have you seen some of the technology that they're using where a machine, the British, wherever the British colonized, the first thing they do is railway. And who do they use? The manpower of the people, right? So we're complaining unemployment, Abi. Don't bring the Chinese machines, actually. Use our Nigerian people. Give our Nigerian people work. Let them lay new tracks. Amaechi, What were they doing? They were just improving on, like I said, the same railway that the British left at. They were not doing new ones. They were not doing like his locomotive. He refurbished these ones, bring locomotive and put, and then what? I was supposed to clap for that? No, the ones we never see train before, and then they will enter that train. They say, hey, AC, yeah. I always look at them and I'm like, oh my God, see how the bar has dropped in Nigeria. So even this. People that have traveled, people that have seen better, they are the ones here say, because it is such a relief to enter a train, go from Abuja to Kaduna, and not have the stress, the wahala of bandits, but even the train that they don't start to bomb and whatever. But it was the convenience that people were hailing, not the technology or the advancement or the type of train or anything. No, it was just the convenience of having to, I don't have to use my car. I can use. Imagine if that was the whole country. Imagine if it was speed. Like I said, it should take me like an hour or whatever it is. I don't know what the speeds are, but it should not take me long to go from Lagos to Maiduguri, finish what I'm doing, and get back to Lagos and still have time to do one or two things in Lagos. Imagine a country where that was possible. Do you know how much business would improve? Imagine what they would say, what is lost when one day or public holiday or whatever. Imagine how much money we're losing because of the inefficiency of our system.
But Nigeria's problem seems to be tied to every other sector, because if you're talking about transportation, you see, people will also be talking about security, we'll also be talking about agriculture, we'll be talking about different other sectors. So how do we... Are you suggesting that if you are in government or if you are Nigeria's president, that what you do is that you shut down every other sector and maybe have a 3-year plan to deal with the transportation issue of the country?
I'm not saying that, but again, there's nothing wrong with that actually. You understand? Everybody comes in, 7-point agenda, 11-point plan. You know what? Maybe we should actually just fix one thing, get one thing right. So if it is transportation, let us do our railway. So if as a president, all I do in 4 years is make sure that I've delivered world-class rail system for you people, that's a job well done. Because after I've done that, you bow what will follow from there. So if the only thing I do is deliver that for you people and walk away, that's a good job, that's a job well done. If the only thing I've done for you is set up ecosystems that take the best of what we have. So for example, we talked about farmer-herd milk clashes, right? So let's talk about setting up a proper like ranches and whatever in the northeast, right? So that we contain these nomadic people, so that we can now create like food belt corridors.
But that has been proposed over time. We've even talked about having cattle routes across the country.
You said talked. It stops at talking. Talk. No action. Because we are now at the point where Trump is bombing Sokoto, your country, because of this problem that talk has not solved. So we've been talking for 20 years. So Trump has now started invading your sovereign land to take what he wants to take, because he's not here for the Christians, as he has shown in Venezuela. All his soundbites now are about oil. He has stopped talking about drugs completely. It is now the oil of Venezuela will serve the American people, and you people will get small inside too, but that's what we're here for, right? That's what they went to Iraq for. That's when they went to Libya for the gold. That is what they're going to come here for. That's what they've gone to Venezuela for. Wise up, understand that if you don't fix your own home, somebody will come and try and fix it for you. And when they come to fix it for you from outside, always remember that that person that came is here for his own interest first, so he's not here for you. You are just a byproduct. He's just using your position right now to come and get what he wants. So let us wake up. Let us not allow what the white man did to our ancestors by coming to give them mirror. Hey, can you see your face? Okay, now can I take 200 of your people, men and women and children? Hey, I did them. I can't see myself. Come on. We still want to be doing that in 2025? Really?
Right. So, okay. So, which other sector is very critical to as our economy? Some persons have talked about the investment we've done in power and electricity, and it hasn't really materialized over time.
Yeah. No, Obasanjo, it was not $60 billion. But he kept shouting that Obasanjo spent on electricity. $16 billion. Anywhere else in the world, you pump $16 billion. If you spent $16 billion in China and where we are, some people would have been shot by now. They would have executed some people by now, for sure, right? But $16 billion went down under Obasanjo. Nothing to show for it, right? what else have we spent since that time, right, on electricity? And yet we are still where we are. I keep hearing people talk about blackouts and all of that. If you like, don't go and...
You keep hearing, you don't experience it.
I am off the grid, my brother. I am on solar 100%. I'm not the do NEPA again. And why am I doing that? Because AEDC, that should not exist, right, tried to get their thing back from BiPower. They had, I think, outsourced to BiPower. So when the BiPower contract ended, they wanted to do rollback. So in doing their rollback, some meters became faulty. So my meter that was fine, you're telling me I have to come and spend 250K of my own money to come and replace it so that you can now get control of your system, a system that you should have never had in the first place, because AEDC should still be NEPA today. Then come on. It's just, and they came and they cut my light. I've not had I've not had NEPA in my house for almost 6 months now. It's just like I said, by the grace of God, that I had already installed solar before this nonsense happened. So my legal case with you people, yeah, it's coming. They come for you when I have time. But really, seriously, you're perpetuating more wrongs from an illegal body. AEDC, you are an illegal body by constitution.
Because it's a product of privatization.
Yes, and privatization.
And you have problems with total privatization.
Privatization was illegal. Section 16(1)(c), the state must manage and operate all major sectors of the economy, of which power is one of them. The state is not, Section 16(2)(c) now, state is not allowed to introduce a policy. That's why when you talk about capitalism and socialism, it's a case of what does the constitution say we are. So it's not a case of you feel capitalism is better and you now want to introduce it. No, it is what are you allowed to operate as. When you get elected, you're supposed to, by Section 13, as individuals, or Section 224 as political parties, conform to, observe and apply the provisions of Chapter 2, which do not permit privatization. So AEDC, like I said, you should not even exist. Progress of you coming to come and impose hardship on me by cutting off my lights for doing something that you had no right to force me to do in the first place.
Absolutely, yeah. And those are some of the issues that you raised concerning Nigeria's government. But before we end the program, I'd like to ask, at this moment, I know you've been with the PRP at a point. Which political party are you associated with?
Right now? My supporters are saying I should enter ADC.
This ADC, the African Democratic Congress that we know? Yeah,
because, like I said, by the mere fact that PRP is a socialist party, Aminu Kano's party is a socialist party, so that in itself, but yeah, there is a growing sentiment of ADC. Let's just leave it as I will be joining the ADC, but probably joining the ADC to support Tinubu as president.
That will be a discussion for another time, because we really have to talk how you'll be. Is that our anti-party activity? But let's go. Let's end it here. Thank you so much, Prince Barrister Idris Waziri. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
It's a pleasure with you.
And we wish you all of the best.
Thank you very much.
And you get to explain to us how you'll be a member of the African Democratic Congress, where Atiku Abubakar Peter will be maybe flying the flag, and also supporting Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not an anti-party. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Thank you so much, Honorable Waziri.
Thank you.
All right, people, that's the size of our program for tonight. Like I say every day when I come on the show, remember to always love Nigeria and do your best for the country. My name is Ubong Usoro in Abuja, and I'm saying bye for now.